This Eagles camp, and there's this one guy, I don't know who he is, and his job seems to be just stand there and knock over the whole thing. Did he make someone mad?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. So normally we just put the pad there, you pick the pad there, and you set the pad back up. Clearly, this is a guy that's not highly favored in their organization.
That's an intern. That's what an intern is.
Hey, the other piece of it is this dude's probably a former player who loves getting tackled, who loves the physicality of it, and he probably asked to do this.
Did he? You think so?
Yeah, he asked to do this.
This seems like something if you made the head coach mad, he's going to say, well, I'll show that guy.
Hey, no, it's about the enthusiasm. The more you can do, when you go up to Nick Sirianni and you say, you know what, I'll get tackled and I'll keep getting up time after time after time. This is truly a Rocky story.
I believe that's how Field Yates broke into it.
Okay, we've got RC here. Let's go camping. We are hours away from the Hall of Fame game. Oh, look at that graphic. RC's got some marshmallows working. Let's start with a trail that has two paths. I'm fascinated by this. RC, should Travis Hunter really be trying to play every snap?
No, should Mike Greenberg start eating hamburgers with his fingers? Absolutely not. No. Look at Travis Hunter. I believe he should primarily play the defensive back position, and you should work him in some different opportunities, some different sessions on the offensive side of the ball when you have packages with 11 personnel, red zone, or third down, even 2 minutes. But Travis Hunter should not play 100-plus snaps a game against this level of talent and physicality.
All right, next one. Is this Anthony Richardson's last chance to prove it?
I think this is Anthony Richardson's last chance to prove it in Indianapolis. Listen, he has this talent that is just, it's scintillating, right? It's tantalizing. It makes you feel like you can make something out of him. But Shane Steichen knows who Anthony Richardson is. That's the reason they brought in Daniel Jones, so they can have someone that can challenge him, someone that can push him, and someone that can possibly sit him on the bench. If he is not the day one starter or doesn't find himself here early in the season being a starter, this could be his last chance or last year in Indianapolis.
And then how about your old team, Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers? Will they be a good match?
I think Mike Tomlin is a good match for everyone. If Mike Tomlin was on a coach dating app, everybody would get the swipe away that says he's the perfect person for him. But when you look at Aaron Rodgers and some of the things that you're hearing from his interviews, also Mike Tomlin, both of these men seem to have some synergy. They seem to have a chemistry and an understanding with a high level of respect. We didn't see that from Aaron Rodgers in New York. I think that's a huge difference here.
Well, let's hear one of those quotes. So Rodgers and the Steelers are at their training camp in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Yesterday, Pat McAfee and his crew were there, and Mike Tomlin was asked about the quarterback, and here's what he said.
Does it feel different to you when you look over and you're like, okay, since Ben, that's Aaron Rodgers?
You're damn right it does. It feels pretty good, too.
Yeah,
you know, just the possibilities,
right,
man. To have a guy like that, man, in your huddle, in your locker room, a part of your group, it certainly gives us all great confidence.
Mike T is the man. Any hate, disrespect, and the ilk is complete and utter bull.
Hell yeah.
Mike T is the man.
Okay, so we've got definitely a bromance working here in Latrobe, PA. Dominique, I'll ask you the same question I asked RC. Are they a perfect fit?
Absolutely. I think everyone's a perfect fit in July. Like, this is the honeymoon period. I hope it works out for them, but I suspect it's going to work out for them. But if you're on your honeymoon in the Bahamas and you're not getting along, then we got a real problem. It's when you come back home and you got to pay the bills, you got to figure out who's going to take the kids to school. Like, that's when the honeymoon period where the marriage is actually tested. So right now, it's real easy for everyone to be happy and positive. We saw the same thing in New York. But when the season starts, I think we'll find out what this relationship is really about.
Well, I mean, what he's saying is, you know, everybody plans to be Weezy and George, but sometimes you come home and you're Florida and James, right? And if you, hey, you know how it is. If you go from the Jeffersons to good time, you're going to be like Florida screaming, damn, damn, damn. And so this is the position that they can be in. Absolutely, right now, everything is great. There's a mutual respect and admiration for both of these men based on what they've done throughout their careers. But it's going to be about what happens in week one versus the New York Jets when adversity hits, when there's an interception, when there's a sack, and when Aaron Rodgers has to go back out on that field and believes that Mike Tomlin has the plan to get him there, and also that Mike Tomlin feels that Aaron Rodgers has the way to execute exactly what he wants. All these conversations are great until somebody gets hit in the mouth. Right. Until Aaron Rodgers has to show in the most adverse situations in the game, I'm going to show up. Or when Mike Tomlin has to make a decision that Aaron Rodgers agrees with when it's time to show up. I believe that both of them are set out to do the right thing, set out to win, have the capabilities to do so, but we have to see it happen on game day.
Remember, George and Weezy started in a middle-class neighborhood next to Archie and Edith, but then all of a sudden they had a dry cleaning empire, and they were moving on up. So the big question then becomes, are Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, how do you see the situation in Pittsburgh from what you're hearing, Shefty?
I think there's always been a great respect for Mike Tomlin for Aaron Rodgers and vice versa. And they both needed each other right now. The Steelers haven't gotten great play out of their quarterbacks, and Aaron Rodgers didn't have a lot of interest around the league. And so here they are finding each other, now on their honeymoon, getting ready to come back. I don't know if they're opening a dry cleaning empire thing, but they would settle for some winning games in the AFC North. But let's keep in mind, there have been 4 quarterbacks that have gone into a season, as Hembo pointed out, at age 41 or older. We've got Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Warren Moon, and now Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady is the only one who's won a playoff game at age 42 or above, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be 42 this season. He's trying to do what few people have ever done for a team that has lost its last 6 playoff games, which is why I come back and say they need each other.
And I think the biggest thing is you don't want this to be one of those situations when you finally get to date the prom queen after 2 divorces and 6 kids. Right. You want it to be able to be something where you can get some of that old magic.
Nick just made a funny face.
Just say, like, you want to be able to get some of that magic that has Mike Tomlin basically giddy when talking about Aaron Rodgers. And we started to see some of those things down the stretch for him with the New York Jets and Devontae Adams as they played the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins. How much more of that can you see? How much healthier will he be? And so all of those things are important, and I believe it has to be a fast start because there will be a microscope on what goes on in Pittsburgh.
Nick, I got 10 seconds. Finish it up.
Oh, no, I was just lining up to make me a joke about the old Aunt Viv and the new Aunt Viv, but then RC came with a more devastating analogy that blew my mind. I thought we was going into Culture Wednesday and we just made a detour into the prom queen.
All right, we'll make it a Culture Thursday as we roll on. Coming up, we're going football anytime soon. What's the latest with Terry McLaurin?
The 2 sides remain apart on Terry McLaurin's value. Again, there is a disagreement here. I think he would view himself more along the lines of DK Metcalf, who was traded this offseason and got an average of $33 million a year from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think the Commanders see him like that right now. We'll see if the 2 sides can figure out their differences.
All right, and then there's the one in Cincinnati. Trey Hendrickson, you reported he's coming in.
He's in, and he was at the facility yesterday. He did not practice. He waved to friends. He acknowledged everybody there, spoke to reporters afterwards, and he said the things are exactly where they've been, which is this. They are in near agreement on the length of the deal. They are in near agreement on the value of the deal, but they are nowhere close to an agreement on the guaranteed money in the deal, and that is holding up everything and preventing a long-term extension for Trey Hendrickson.
And look, this feels critical here with RC and Dominique because this is a team that has started slowly historically. We've seen the last 6 years, they're 1-11 in weeks 1 and 2. We've been over that time and again. And it doesn't seem like this one's getting closer. For example, every time we talk about Micah Parsons, right, we always say the same thing. Well, that deal will obviously get done at some point here.
Hold on. That deal is also nowhere close to being done. And everybody has a perception, like you do, Greeny, that the deal between the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons is going to get done. And maybe one day it will, because negotiations take